first thing that we need to do today is we need to figure out if I can drop a staircase. So that we can do, like, Dwarf from above, falling staircases. It's the first thing that I need to do. The second thing that I need to do is we need to figure out what adamantine spire we're going to try and go into hell via. The third thing we need to do is I need to continue working on and finish the library and the roof to the main fortress. So we've got a lot of, like, various different things we need to complete today. But it's going to be kind of a lot of planning. I don't think we'll actually try and combat hell today. That's probably going to happen next week. So don't get too excited. Today's probably just going to be a lot of prep work. But I do need to find out if I can drop a staircase. Ideally, if I can drop a staircase through floors. So we're going to be doing some fun prep work, hopefully, as well as building out other stuff. But thank you very much, Navy, for starting off September in a very nice way. So cheers, man. As you can probably see, we did melt a bunch of things recently. I think, are they still forbidden? Yes, they are. I'm going to set them all to be melted, but I'm going to leave them forbidden. As far as this fortress goes, we are still the mountain home. We have a lot of stoneworkers. The living dwarves in this fortress are Dragona, Mirror Hall Clay, Frog for Hire. If you were in this fortress and you don't hear your name, you probably died. A bunch of dwarves died yesterday. Elamino, Farana, as well as Redger and Harry is Gamer, as well as Wilmer and Stone and Thalfon, Hrums. Wait, what? Hops, Pablo Rasta, Tele, Cutest Ghost, Rolf, and Mepeti, Hydra Slayer, Belug, who's not a dwarf, that's definitely an elf. And that is everybody on our list. Well, hopefully we can get, like... update is the wrong word. Clarification? Reclarification? Notice as to when the next version, or as to when premium will be out. Because, like... Like, the last time they really said anything, they were just like, yeah, we're aiming for fall. And that was, what, back in spring when they said that? Yeah, we're aiming for fall. And then when I spoke with them in July? Yeah, that's when I spoke with them. Can you have a metalworker? Absolutely. I spoke with them back in July, and they were like, yeah, we're still aiming for fall. And that was back in July. So... since July, we haven't really heard much. What kind of metalworker do you want? We got furnace ops, we got a blacksmith, and we got metal crafters. What would you like, Tygo? Blacksmith? Okay. Legendary blacksmith. Killed a bunch of wombats. Yeah, you've killed a bunch of wombats. So you're also like part-time hunter. Oopsies. You've been playing EVE Online in the meantime? I mean, I would say a solid Dwarf Fortress distractor. Just go play EVE Online. All right, so like I said, you've killed a bunch of wombats. Good for you. Well done. You did it. You killed very small, cute mammal things. You worship Glenlath, the frightful strangeness, a deity of the Plank of Nations, which takes the form of a female dwarf and is associated with torture and misery. Kind of a mood god, if you ask me. She is terrified while in conflict. Oh. Here, very clearly, fighting with a wombat. I would guess. But she is satisfied upon improving crossbow and satisfied upon improving archery. She is 74 years old, born on the 6th of Opal in the year 157. She personally is affronted by the notion of maintaining decorum and finds so-called dignified people disgusting, and doesn't respect a society that has settled into harmony without debate and strife. Her hair is clean-shaven and she has a broad chin. Her somewhat short ears have nearly fused lobes, and her lips are thin, and her eyes are slightly close-set. Her nose bridge is slightly convex, and her hair is pale taupe, and her skin is cinnamon. Fighting with a wombat with a crossbow, terrified. The battle rages on, she screams. She is almost never sick and slow to tire. That's like me, like, crossing the street and almost getting hit by a taxi and screaming, I must withdraw, the battle rages on. Although, actually, that's probably more threat to my life than a wombat. Anyway, she likes Gabbro, Platinum, and Bonfire Opal. The color ecru, and high boots and cages and ducks for their quacks, and cod for their fins. And the words of the Fated Oblivion and the sound of the future metal. That's metal as fuck. The words of the Fated Oblivion and the sound of the future metal. And when possible, prefers to consume barley wine and absolutely hates bats. She never becomes angry, and she finds something humorous in everything, no matter how serious or inappropriate. She forms strong emotional bonds with others, at times to her detriment, and she lives an orderly life, organized and neat, and she often feels discouraged. She generally acts with a narrow focus on the current activity, and she enjoys the company of others. She has a noticeable lack of perseverance, and she is assertive. She generally acts impartially and is rarely moved to mercy, and she stiffens up when she's surprised. She needs alcohol to get through the working day and doesn't really care about anything anymore. And hello, Bastet. Good morning. Good day. Well, I mean, when it comes to Premium DF, there's a lot of people that seem pretty convinced that we're going to get a release date at PAX. I'm not convinced of that. Gonna be honest? I'm not convinced of that because I'm still of the opinion that this is just my suspicion. My suspicion is that they are going to be like, by the way, it's done, guys, and then release it with, like, a week's notice. That is my suspicion. But who knows? It's not very Zack and Tarn-like to be like, oh, it'll be out in a month, you know? Or 2 months, or whatever. That's not super normal Dwarf Fortress behavior. But, you know, weirder things have happened. A wombat. You're going into Mortal Wombat. Just to scream, get over here! All right, so, my experiment, you know what, everybody's just putting shit away right now. Let's just let the dwarves put stuff away for a bit, and then we'll go about doing our experiments. I'm literally just cleaning out an entire cavern layer right now, and also just making a shit ton of spider silk stuff, and trying to, like, actually make clothing for everybody. I'm gonna remove that job, and that job, and keep those. Yeah, the seduction, something seduction, the frightful strangeness. No, that checks out. I mean, it's torture and misery. I mean, this is basically just like the BDSM faction. Like we've been over this many times. The one thing this faction is missing is a god of stepping on people. I mean, the dwarves are creative, but I don't think they're quite that creative. So that also kind of makes sense to a degree. Are those magma? Yes, they are, in fact, magma crabs. All right, well, let's send the military down. They're pretty chill otherwise. I think I'm going to put some cage traps in here. I really kind of don't want things walking out. Like they can go up there, but I don't want them coming up here. Wow, that's a lot of magma crabs. 4 of them even. Probably put more magma crabs around the basement. Lava flew everywhere briefly. Oop. I don't think that was a dwarf. Maybe it was. Nope. It's oh no, you're bleeding a lot there, dwarf. Heavy bleeding. Her upper body is running with dwarf blood, and her upper body is melted. Well, shit. Chat, do you guys think this dwarf's gonna make it? I'm not convinced. They don't seem to be even remotely concerned about this. Oh, hey, they stopped bleeding. Great. Did you just get sudden freak liposuction? Oh, yeah, sure. Sweet. Awesome. Her upper body's fat is gone. You know how, like, if you catch fire for, like, a split second in Dwarf Fortress, you can, like, just get instant liposuction? Anyway, this dwarf just acquired immediate liposuction. She was very pissed off when choking on smoke. Instantly, yeah, it's like high-speed weight loss. Collide with magma crab. Easy peasy. Easy peasy. Gotta say. But yeah, no, I think like the exciting thing is just, you know, tune into that PAX panel tomorrow, you know. I don't know anything you guys don't know. Literally all of the information I have is information you guys have. The only thing that I mean, I might know things after PAX. But currently, like, I don't know anything. I'm not really expecting them to announce a release date, but it's also kind of hard to say, so who knows? Who knows? You know nothing? Yeah, head empty. No thoughts. And so the big problem that we are encountering with this fort is we are like the only populated fortress left in this faction. So we've stopped getting migrants because this faction is largely dead. Which is kind of okay. But what that actually means, and the issue with that, is as I slowly lose dwarves because of how much combat we're doing, population is dwindling. So the Plank of Nations is in a sketchy situation, to put it kindly. But we do need to finish this volcano over here. And once we get this, or not volcano, this tower over here. And once we get that done, we'll be hopefully in a better-ish spot. Although I do kind of want to just get rid of all of this. Or just hide it all. Let's just forbid it all. And hide it all. Don't generally do that, but... Also, Navy, I don't think you're the only person who's just, like, taking a break from Dwarf Fort to play other things because they're waiting for premium. Like, I had somebody tune in the other day who was just like, I saw the... it was yesterday, and they're like, I saw the soundtrack post, and I'm assuming the game's coming out soon. Made me think of you, and they tuned in and resubbed for the first time in, like, 2 years. It's like... People are starting to actually believe it's out soon, which I hope is an accurate assumption. Although, I think that's also partially to do with that Kit Fox tweet where somebody was just like, so when's Dwarf Fortress out? And they were like, sooner than you might think. Whatever that means. Whatever sooner than you might think is. So we're just going to let these dwarves finish cleaning up all these corpses. And they are getting there. I'm trying to just clean up this entire cavern layer because it's still quite the mess. I mean, it is getting better, but it's a huge mess still. There's still, like, all of these random trolls and, like, forgotten beasts up here. Like this guy. This chitin, a forgotten beast. And then all those crundles and this forgotten beast. We're just trying to get all of those removed. Once all of those are removed, then from there we can... Actually gonna just disable all the military for a little bit and give them a break. But well, once we're done cleaning all that stuff up, we'll start doing that experiment. Also, all of those dwarves get the opportunity to go grab new clothing. Which is actually good. Like, you need to let your military get new clothing every now and again. Because they can't put on new clothing until they are released from their normal uniforms. The Echidna's fighting. Does the king want, or queen want anything? They want us a mace. To which point, I'm just going to keep making iron maces. I know they're not very good, but that's fine. I don't really want the dwarves using maces. We're just going to keep making iron. I will say that the sooner than you might think tweet from Kit Fox was very pointed and out of the ordinary. Like, they're not really... They don't generally say things like that. So, either that was a slip-up from them and a bad call to make that tweet, or it's actually coming out soon. Sooner than you might think. Whatever that means. Shoutouts to Crabman, though, who was just like, well, I think it'll be out in 10 minutes. Checkmate, Kit Fox. That's kind of funny. I like that this cavern layer just has, like, those random patches of just, like, not muddy. It's interesting. I don't think I've ever seen a cavern layer like this that's, like, vast majority mud, and then just the occasional spot that isn't muddy. Like that. Like, why isn't that muddy? I'm assuming it's because, like, some fire beast just, like, set a bunch of webs on fire, but, like, still. It's, like, it's weird to see. It's like that's the logical assumption, right? But... But yeah, it'll be super easy to test out my stair dropping idea in here. Which shouldn't be too difficult. Of course, if anybody else wants me to check in on a dwarf or give you a tour of the fort or show you something specific, or if you're confused about anything you're seeing, just shout. I will do my best to explain. That is something I don't think the Steam version is going to change much. I have a feeling it'll still be like, wait, what does that screen do? What does that mean? Because, like, the premium version might have pretty pixels. But it's still very obtuse looking. Pretty pixels or not. Ah, well, would you look at that? The Forgotten Beast Osmob has come. A gigantic blob composed of mud. It has a long curly tail, and it appears to be emaciated. Beware its poisonous vapors. I'm going to just be like, oi, free seals. Go kill this thingy. Because... that's one of those Forgotten Beasts where it's just like, oh, you scary, but also, you might actually be scary. So I'm just hoping one of them can just get there quickly and round of beers for the mud blob. Stab the mud blob. Pop the mud blob. You don't have a dwarf in this fort. Aqua. We do have a dwarf in Long Death, though. And Splat. Okay, so the Swordmaster stabs the Forgotten Beast in the body with Stuko's cat, fracturing it. Didn't even get caught in the vapors. So Athel, Aqua Funk, fuck Funk. Let's stick Booty Whap. All right, so Aquafunkalistic Booty Whap has killed a bunch of goblins, including Kutsmob Hatred Bewitched, which was actually a notable goblin from the fortress who convinced somebody to steal an artifact. Anyway, you also killed that Forgotten Beast, as well as a bunch of things in other places. Within last season, she didn't feel anything while in conflict, and she didn't feel anything after seeing a Forgotten Beast die. She's 87 years old, born on the 27th of Hematite in the year of 144. You're a Goblin Slayer, multi-time Goblin Slayer. Yeah. You're a military dwarf. A Sword Master. Not only are you a Sword Master, but you are a legendary Swords Dwarf wielding a... Why can't I get into the inventory screen? There it is. Wielding Stukos Kat, which is the Razor of Goals, which is a adamantine short sword. You're the only person to have used it, and you've gotten a total of 3 kills with it now. Anyway, she personally views tranquility as one of the highest ideals and believes the idea of war is utterly repellent and would have peace at all costs, sees competition as wasteful and silly, and is put off by family, and sees working hard as a foolish waste of time, and values decorum, dignity, and proper behavior, and doesn't particularly care about craftsmanship and dreams of mastering a skill. Is a nervous wreck and takes no pleasure in her talents and accomplishments, and she can get caught in internal deliberations when action is necessary, and is slow to anger, and has an active sense of humor. She finds obligations confining, though she is conflicted by this for more than one reason. She tends to present herself modestly, and she has a tendency to go it alone and without considering the advice of others, and doesn't mind a little tumult and discord in day-to-day living, and generally is quite confident in her abilities when undertaking specific ventures, and she thinks she is fairly important in the grand scheme of things, and she is quick to form negative views about things, and she likes to take it easy, and she occasionally overindulges, and she tends to consider what others think of her. And she needs alcohol to get through the working day. You know, honestly, the most exciting thing about that soundtrack video, to me, isn't the actual soundtrack. And I pointed this out yesterday, but the most exciting thing to me about the soundtrack video is the fact that you can see the animal person's thoughts, which is the most, me thing ever. But there's, one frame when they're looking at the underground section in the footage that they released, and they select a, what's it called? They select a... Yeah, it's a bat lady. They select a bat lady. And it says that they're 10 years old. And it has their full overview, including their recent thoughts. This is really cool to me. Like the fact that she's a skilled blowgunner, but very rusty. And all of these. All of this shit's super neat to me. Because previously, if you'd look at their descriptions, all that you would get was the visual description. It's oh, they have blue eyes. Well, that's useful. Or black eyes or whatever. You never used to get here is the full chunk for chunk description of this person. And that is really cool to me. That is really, really neat. I can't wait to get all of the recent thoughts of hamster people in my fortress. It also makes me wonder, what I'll get if I look at the thoughts for a ghost, you know? It's if there's a ghost in my fortress, can I see their recent thoughts? That's the kind of stuff that I'm wondering about now. Omnipotent? I mean, the player in Dwarf Fortress is an omnipotent being. You know, in my mind, and I've said this on stream before, specifically when we were talking about Star Trek, which will make sense in a moment why. In my headcanon, the player in Dwarf Fortress is practically Q from Star Trek. Because we are an omnipotent being who has, unknowable powers to the dwarves. And the dwarves theoretically can name us. There is a way that you can figure out what the dwarves' name for the player is. And I can just, delete this world at the snap of my fingers. There's no fog of war. Yep. So, we... Well, actually, technically, there is fog of war, because things can be stealthed. But, the player is an omnipotent being with unknowable powers compared to the dwarves. So thus, we are basically Q. So, being able to like see the thoughts of characters that aren't in your fortress makes a lot of sense. If you take it in the context of we're like essentially Q. If you reclaim a fort, sure. But once you discover an area, it's discovered. I mean, like if you go into the caverns, there's fog of war initially, but it disappears pretty quick. And once you've discovered it, then you can see the stuff there forever. Like if I go down to, I think it's, I totally missed it. Like I can't see all of the magma seas, so that's technically fog of war, right? I can't see all of this cavern layer, so that's fog of war. But once I discover those areas, then they will be visible to me for the rest of the game. Q talks about wanting to explore places. Or rather, wants to vicariously explore places through other people. That or we're just like a lesser Q. We're not quite full-on Q. We're just like a partial Q, you know what I mean? We're more like an A. We're not quite the Q and A, we're just an A. All right, so I'm going to make an attempt to try something, right? What I'm going to do is I'm going to mine this out. Actually, we're going to mine up. And channel up. Channel up all the way down to here. And I'm going to channel up all the way here. Then this is going to be... How can I do this? Let's just do this as an up stair. And then this is an up down stair. And then this is an up down stair. And then this is a down stair. You'll see what I'm doing in a second. So what we're doing is I want to test something. I want to find out what happens if you drop a channeled staircase. Because I want to, specifically through a piece of flooring. Because I want to see if I can maybe drop a staircase into hell. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be digging underneath this, supporting it with a single pillar, and then cutting it off the top, and then pulling a lever and collapsing it. I want to see what happens if I drop a non-constructed dugout staircase. Because if you drop dugout walls, they land and are still functional as walls. That's how you make magma pistons and such. I want to see what happens if I drop a staircase. Because I've never dropped a staircase before. I have, however, dropped soap, which is suboptimal and annoying because it can ruin a shower. So... And after asking around real quick this morning, nobody in chat or the Discord that I was asking in has dropped a staircase like this before. So I want to try it. I want to see what's going to happen. So we're going to do a little bit of Dwarven science, chat. And because nobody seems to know the answer to this question, I'm curious, chat. And I want your best predictions. Do you guys think this is going to land as a functioning staircase, or do you guys think it's going to just fall to pieces? What do we think? Oopsies. So down here. Your money is on it falling apart. Instead of building in it in place top to bottom? Yes. I want to see if I can just drop a pre-constructed staircase into hell. I'm thinking about it kind of like an automatically extending elevator. Where it just goes, wee, thonk. All right, so down here, I'm going to build a support. Sure, just out of straight diorite, doesn't matter. And I'm going to build a lever right there, and I'm going to name this lever test liver delete later. Okay. Bonus points for crushing a demon. They spawn at the edge of the map, so I doubt it. Although, if I like fortify my way in so I can see the way in, maybe then I could do that way. All right, well, this area up here, kind of screwed this up, didn't I? Made this unnecessarily difficult for myself. That's fine. I can make it work. No, I need to go up, not down. Ramp up. Still made it unnecessarily difficult for myself. If I did this in the other direction, it would have been a lot easier. Well. It's fine, though. It's easy for you to say, Mr. Moneybags. You know, a while ago, I had like 20,000 tickets, similar to the number that I have right now. And somebody in chat was convinced that I was artificially inflating my own numbers. All right, so this clother here, Tekud, is going to go make an artifact. So we'll pay some attention to them while they're making artifacts. But we're paying most of our attention currently to this, as we also make 3 more maces. All right, so we're just going to dig this out. Actually, is this going to cave in? Hold on. No, it's not. Okay. Had to think about that a little harder than I should have. All right, you get rid of all that with the exception of that stair. Good invest, Haley. Diamond, you didn't even invest 1,000. What are you egging people on and you can't even invest decent numbers yourself? Big goddamn pansy. You should have invested more. Chat, I think we all need to shame Diamond if he invests less than like 50,000 tickets. Tekid has begun has claimed a clothes shop, not begun a mysterious construction. It's up. Sweet. Okay, so we got that done now. Now that we've got that little pillar connected, we can remove... What are you doing? I'll say you can just leave, you know that, right? All right, so we now need to remove this. I mean, look at you. You know, you're like that that dealer at the poker table who's like, "Ah, yeah, you should play one more hand. You got it this time." And they go, "Oh no, you lost. I feel bad." You got their blue... What? Can you try that again? Diamond, I have no idea what you're trying to say. Oh, I see. Currently, we can't actually get to it. Um. Oh, we can deconstruct this later. That's fine. Actually, you know what? Let's cancel that. What am I going to make with the candy? I've made swords. For multiple streams. Many streams, actually. Every single one of my military dwarves are using adamantine swords. I don't have enough to really do much more. I don't feel like duping them. Yeah, no, we've been using adamantine swords for a while. Almost exclusively, even. It's quite literally like the only weapon that we're using. All right, so top is disconnected from up here. And we're going to see if I can drop a staircase. Because I've never tried this before. So we're going to use similar to like a magma piston technique. And then they wonder why. They're like, why are my arms gone? Hey, that dwarf has begun a mysterious artifact using marble, wombat, leather and bone, lignite, more wombat, leather, iron bars, and pigtail cloth. All right, so they're going to do all this. Do more of those. Do that. And then after that, we'll probably, after we figure out if this works, we're going to start working on 2 large projects. We're going to start, or we're going to continue trying to mine out more of that adamantine down in the basement. And we're going to figure out which spire we're going to try and use as our way in. And we're going to start loosely planning the tunnels that we're going to need to actually get in there. Because I'm going to use very large amounts of distance and drawbridges to do this. And probably just like a lever is how we're actually going to do this. But Nuclear Sneeze, how goes your Thursday? How's things, man? Put on backpack with strange mood. And that would be cool if they may. I mean, like, do the dwarves have backpacks? I mean, sort of, but like, they don't really. Did dwarves actually use backpacks for things? I know that they have them. Yeah, it's like you can make leather backpacks, but like, I don't think I've ever seen an artifact backpack. What do they even use those for? Are they kind of like flasks where the military use them? Or is it just one of those flavor items that exists for some reason? Dwarf Fortress kind of has a lot of those. Hey, yo, Rolf. It's a military food and water item. I've also wondered for a while if the military actually need those food and water items. Like, do they actually fill them up with things? I don't actually know. I know it's a thing for adventure mode. Like, it's very important in adventure mode, but fortress mode is kind of... That's how you end up with all those weird things like mortar and pestles, where it's like, oh yeah, no, the night creatures, they grind up bones. It's like, what does that do? No purpose. Nope, it's Jagged Pigtail Cap. The cap of the Jagged Alliance. Tekkud the Clother has created assigning a Jagged Pigtail Cap and offers it to the Ancient Beard. Also, thank you, man. It's worth 25,000 Zethal. It's called Rapid Burn. It's like the opposite of sunscreen. This is a Jagged Pigtail Cap. All Crastor ship is of the highest quality. It is decorated with pigtail and wombat leather, and encircled with bands of wombat leather. It is made from pigtail cloth, and this object menaces with spikes of lignite and wombat bone. On the item is an image of forgotten beasts in iron. On the item is an image of forgotten beasts in wombat leather. On the item is an image of sorghum in mobile. Marble, not mobile. Mobble. I can't words. Cap is just a small backpack? No. Not by any definition is it just a small backpack. Right, so small lever delete later. Add support. Rough pillar. Weird, busy workday, but you also found some time for sportsing and reading. Gotcha. I'm kind of sad. I'm going to miss Formula 1 stuff while I'm at PAX. Although maybe on the Sunday I can like wake up early and watch the race. Depends. To be fair, this whole stream is pretty full of spoilers. Oops. Oops. You okay there? You okay there? Okay. Yeah, I just winded 2 people because I accidentally dropped a rock, but it's fine. Nobody died. It's okay. Mild cave-in accident. Mild oopsie. Nobody was killed intentionally. Steambeat DB changed back to what? It's been on January 19th. It hasn't updated at all. What are you talking about? The number that changed was this one, the last record update, whereas this hasn't changed. This has been this way for about 3 weeks with no changes. So, no. I don't know when you thought that changed, but trust me, I can tell you for a fact that has not changed. Oops. Collected some other colleagues with experience. No, that's Sire stupid. Diamond. Review and pay adjustments, which was interesting. OL might have buddies if I find an interesting local alternative. Hoping to find a remote gig. Remote gigs are nice. They certainly have their benefits. It's interesting that like recently like employers are just like, how dare you work from home? Yet more and more and more people are just like, I'm not gonna work unless I can work from home, so. That same Weaver's having another goddamn tantrum. All right. I'm going to remove this construction. We're going to remove this. And then I'm going to dig beneath this. I'm going to do a very simple, like, test bed for this to see if this will work. So I'm literally just going to go down here and dig out a tiny square right underneath that. So ideally, there should be a functioning staircase that lands on layer -29. Okay? A functioning staircase that lands on layer -29. That is optimally what will happen. So let's see if this concept works. Obviously, I need this to be hooked up to a mechanism first, which that dwarf is doing right now, I think. That, or they were channeling. Yeah, I think they were actually channeling. They were digging. I hope they're able to get out. They should be able to. Cool. Dwarf connected the mechanism. All right, chat. So success or failure? Success or failure. We're going to pull this lever. So if you're curious to know about my science, I guess look up right now. Can I get a round of beers for good luck? I hope that this is a success. Because if this is a success, then the theory of me being able to potentially scout and drop a pillar of stairs into hell is significantly more likely than the alternative. So, fingers crossed. It's a carved staircase. I've never done this before. I'm trying to drop it through one... Uh-oh. Let's actually just stop that. I'm going to drop it from here, which is carved, through this floor right here, and it should land right there. That's what it should do. It should land right there. Here comes our dwarf to pull the lever. Oh. Carved staircase collapses. Okay. It doesn't work. Sad days. No lucky strats for me. Well, that answers that question. After? Well, that defeats the whole purpose of the exercise. Carving the stairs in afterwards defeats the whole point of the exercise. The whole point of the exercise was, can I drop a carved staircase through a layer of floors into somewhere so that the dwarves can quickly rush in and fight a thing? That was the theory. Or the thing I wanted to figure out. And the answer's no. I mean, yeah, I've done aquifer piers. I know how to drop pillars into things. I know how lava pillars work, and I know all that. I was curious if I could do it with a staircase. Because I've never attached a staircase to one that I've dropped. Because I always just assumed it wouldn't work. I was just curious. But turns out, doesn't work. It collapsed. And let's delete that lever. That's mildly disappointing, but also makes sense. But, since that's done, we can go back down to here. This is an area that we're working on. But the thing that we're actually working on is right here. Live DF learning? I mean, someone has to. Down here we are basically trying to melt or seal off lava so that I can mine out more of this adamantine. There's a ghost. It's Olbach Lancerclout. It's a ghostly miner. Probably one of the miners that got ignited. I wonder if I made you a... Yes, I did. But yeah, my main goal for PAX isn't actually to play Dwarf Fortress, because I kind of doubt that'll happen. It would be cool if I got the opportunity to play it, but I just don't see it happening. My main goal for PAX is to orchestrate and confirm a chit-chat with Zach and Tarn a couple weeks after release. Or maybe like a week after release. Or like within a week of release. Like that is my hope. That's the thing I would like to pull off, is be like, hey, can you guys take like an hour break between patching Dwarf Fortress nonstop around release to do another one of those. Oh, I mean, I'm not going to be recording anything of them at PAX. That's not going to happen. But I haven't confirmed whether or not they want it or not, but I do have the Yeti. It's on my floor. I pulled it out. I got it all set up. I mean, got this guy. I just need to find the cable for it. I have a box of USB cables that I need to find, or that I have, and I need to go through that and find it. But yeah, this is my old microphone.